Hi, this is Cédrine Kerbal. This is the Wheel Talk podcast live from the Tour de France Femmes Stage 9 from Praz-sur-Arly to Châtel.
Hello and welcome back to the Wheel Talk podcast. My name is Neef, coming to you from the final stage of this year's Tour de France Femmes, avec Zwift. Big thank you to Cédrine Kerbal for bringing us into tonight's episode. And I say tonight, and it is late tonight. Georgie, Howe, what time is it?
Oh, it's almost tomorrow, Matt. It's 11:30 in the evening. Is it evening? It's night. It's definitely night.
Yeah, so apologies in advance if we're a little tired and a little bit off. It's been a big day, and with the stage finishing at 7 o'clock tonight, let's just say it's been a long day.
I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to the ASO, I think.
We've recorded in some beautiful places during this tour. Last night, in fact, we were recording on the patio of a hotel restaurant, mountains all around, cold hops-based beverage in hand. It was lovely. Where are we recording tonight, Georgie?
We are recording from what seems to be the hottest ticket in town, Matt, because I just saw the Live Cycling contingent arrive as well, and we saw Dominique Powers and her guys out the front as well. We are recording from the Ibis in Thoron-les-Plaines. Les Bains. It's on the waters. We're technically in France, but it's very close to Switzerland because Geneva's just down the road.
Yeah, so we're sitting in the breakfast room of the hotel, and
it's almost breakfast time actually.
That's a great point. All right, lots to get through, lots of riders to hear from today, and we've got an off-mic segment to finish the tour that, well, it's a topic that we were talking about earlier in the race, an important topic, a bit of a delicate one. We'll get to that later on for all of our wonderful members that have signed up. If you haven't, please consider signing up to Escape Collective. It really does mean a lot. Keeps the lights on, keeps us doing cool content like this podcast and all the cool stories that have been going up on Escape Collective throughout the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift.
And I swear we sound more excited. We are more excited than we sound.
All right, Georgie, give us a recap of the final stage.
I'm going to inject so much energy into this. So, ladies and gents, the riders had, on the final hurrah of this stage, they had 124.1 kilometres from Praz-sur-Arly to Châtel-les-Portes-de-Soel. We actually had a lunchtime picnic on the banks of a beautiful river in the starting town, which was lovely, with our baguettes. So the riders set off in the lovely sunshine, and they had a very tough day on the cards with 2 Cat 1s and a horse category climb to tackle for the day. There was we didn't get to see the first official start and the descent because we were in the car, but we actually drove the descent, and I'm sure it would have been fast and furious. And then we got to the first category climb of the day, which was a category 1, and Anna van der Breggen. I was driving, and Matt was watching the live stream, and every other second it was Van der Breggen attacks again, Van der Breggen attacks again, Van der Breggen attacks again, and I believe she attacked 6 times.
Yeah, it's the 6th one that stuck.
Yeah, I mean 6 times a charm. That's what they say in all the race meetings. So Van der Breggen attacked 6th time and got away and got a good gap, and she managed to get out to, what was it, a minute and a half at one stage?
Yeah, even 2 minutes maybe.
Yeah, and the rest of the peloton was wary, and the pace seemed to continue to be injected into the group. So at this stage, at 57 Ks to go, Demi decided she had enough and decided she wanted to attack up the road. Cassia stuck to her like glue and followed her, and we had a group of Cassia, Gigante, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, Dominique Wojcicek, Niamh Fisher-Black, and of course Demi Vollering. And at that stage, Van der Breggen was at 51 seconds ahead of them at this point. I was in transit to the VIP section between those 2 points, so I was at the finish line. So thank you to Kate Verano for that invitation. So I missed some of what happened in between there, but tuned in just to see the action really kicking off. Demi then goes again when that attack is closed down, and there's some cat and mousing that goes on. And this is up and over the horse category climb.
The Joux plan, right?
The Joux plan, yeah. And when they crest the top of the climb. They're going over the top, and Sarah Gigante is dangling off the back at this point. In Group 3 behind, we had Cedrine Cabal and the Phoenix DeKernick contingent. And in Group 2, which is one behind, Van der Breggen in Demi Vollering's group, Juliette Labou was there, but then she seemed to blow up a bit. And then she worked her way back, as well as Gigante. Gigante also gets back, but then they really put the gas on the descent. So basically the way it worked is like they climbed, they descended a bit, and then they climbed a little bit more, and it was on that little bit more that Gigante and Labou got back on, and then they bombed the descent again, and it was Demi pushing the pace on that descent and opened up a gap to Sarah Gigante. So at the base, Sarah was about 30 seconds behind the GC group, and Labou's was pacing pretty hard. They were rolling hard turns at this point. Like, no one was really skipping. I thought Niamh Fisher-Black was skipping, but she seemed to be rolling through. 34 Ks to go. Group 2 is on the last climb, closing to Anna van der Breggen, who's had a massive day out. At 33 Ks to go, Anna is caught, and Juliette Labou keeps pacing. It's unbelievable. She had a phenomenal ride today. Anna van der Breggen is then dropped from that group, so that becomes now the leading group. Kasia is also pacing with FDJ as they approach the summit, with Gigante still valiantly fighting on with 30 Ks to go, and actually catches Anna van der Breggen and then proceeds to drop Anna van der Breggen. So Anna did not have a great day. Well, she did until she didn't. They're on the descent. Matt, you and I drove that descent at 28.8 Ks to go. I was told by Heidi Franz that it could be very slippery on the descent with fresh paint. So I think they took quite a lot of care on there. It wasn't until the second half of the descent that Kasia got on the front and actually blew the front group up a bit. So a group of 4 got off the front, and which included Dominika Wolszczak, Demi Vollering, Kasia Nieberdoma, and Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, with Labou and actually no, it was Dominika Wolszczak instead of with Labou. Niamh Fisher-Black was in the front group, so apologies to Niamh, friend of the pod. So they get to the valley, and Labou and Dominic make it back, and they're rolling hard turns. It is a tailwind in that valley. And then at 7 Ks to go, with Labou still pacing, Demi attacks from the back of the bunch, heading into Châtel, with Kasia and everyone following. Kasia just stuck to Demi like glue all day. And then at 6 Ks to go, a cheer goes up, and Pauline Ferrand-Prévot has gone solo. And she will go on to win the stage, followed by Demi Vollering and Kasia Nieberdoma duking it out for the minor placings.
So we got to see the yellow jersey win the final stage to win the Tour. French woman becoming the first French winner of the Tour de France Femmes, avec Zwift. Pretty fitting finale, I thought, the way she won it. And especially seeing as we got 1, 2, and 3 on the stage, or 1, 2, and 3 overall.
Yeah, that's it. And it's, it was, I was at the finish, Matt, and I had my voice memo recording up. I was waiting for a raucous cheer. Look, they did shunt the press back a fair way. We were about 75 metres behind the finish line, so we weren't allowed any closer. But I was still expecting to see, like, we still had fans near us in the barriers, and I was expecting to hear more of a shout, and I was exchanging comments with those around me. Like, it was big, the cheer, but it wasn't as big as I was expecting.
Yeah, that surprises me a little bit, to be honest. I think watching it on TV from the press room where I was, it seemed like there was a lot of fanfare, a lot of excitement around the first French winner. And I mean, maybe it was a case of where you were standing, or maybe it was just looked better on TV. I'm not quite sure. But I think we've talked about this throughout the week, but I think having a French winner of the Tour is a great thing for the sport. And the crowds this week have been phenomenal, and presumably part of that is having a French contender. And now that we've got a French winner, can't imagine what the crowd's going to be like in the years to come.
Oh, I 100% agree. And it was something I actually talked about with Kate Verano in the VIP section. I said, how is a French winner going to help the business case of Zwift moving forward in relation to this? And I believe I said that, or I wanted to ask her that. I can't remember if I asked that. I need to go back and look at the record. It's been a long day. Kate, if I haven't asked you that, I want to ask you that, because no doubt this would help the business case, because, it is a Tour de France. You have a French winner. it helps enormously with publicity. In fact, I think you cannot ignore the economic footprint of this event without looking at who is winning it.
You mentioned Heidi Franz there. She's a rider that you caught up with in the VIP section. What's she doing at the race this week?
She is leading tour group.
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
And you had a chat to her about the finale of the stage and what we could have expected, I guess.
Yeah, I did. And we actually have a audio file from Heidi that we can check in when we discuss this.
All right, let's listen to that right now.
Heidi Franz, friends of the pod. Did you drive the last 30 Ks into the finish here?
I rode it.
You rode it. Can you tell us a bit about the last 30 Ks?
So the climb that they're coming up to next it's a pretty steep 6Ks. It's tough. And I was feeling the altitude. I'm not used to it at this point. So I was feeling it climbing up there. I actually had some intervals to do while I was doing it. So put in a good 15-minute effort. And yeah, it was hard. And the descent is it's another twisty descent on the way back down. And then you hit the valley and it's tailwind in the valley. And it was tailwind until we came to Châtel. And then this last, you have a nice climb up through the town. And then you turn right. And the last 5K, you kind of go downhill. And then this last 3K is not easy. It is a hard uphill, drag.
It's a pretty rude way to finish the tour.
It's a really rude way. I was thinking oh my God, this is brutal. I was just, my thoughts were going out to the gruppetto, man, I just can't imagine.
But Heidi, look around us. We do have a pretty good vibe up here. Do you want to describe what we're seeing? We've got we're in amongst the trees and it looks like a ski resort at Châtel. We have a wooden ski restaurant behind us.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing scene, I gotta say. The number of people out here is amazing. I've been here for an hour so far. The number of people just keeps swelling and swelling. Yeah, it's amazing, honestly. I was overwhelmed 2 days ago, and I'm still just amazed.
There's even one of those those rubbery guy men, inflatable men that you see.
Those one of those car dealership little tube balloon man.
There's nothing better to greet the riders when they finish the Tour de France than one of those.
Better. I hope someone gets a chuckle out of that.
You know what? Because I reckon their legs are going to resemble one of those.
All right, lots of talking points from today's stage. Let's go to Anna van der Breggen's attack quickly. We talked about how tenacious she was getting off the front. The fact she was 9 minutes down coming into the stage worked in her advantage. They didn't have to chase her down ultimately. I thought a really good ride from her, a really aggressive ride. And there was definitely a time there where it looked like she might have been able to stay away and take the stage win if SD works. But as you said, she blew up and didn't quite get the result that she was looking for. But I thought that was a good ride. What was your take on that?
I thought it was a phenomenal ride. Gutsy. Really, we talked about people will be throwing Hail Marys in this stage, and my goodness, didn't she? 6 times. 6-1 stuck. You have to take your hat off to her. I caught up with her after the stage and asked her the question. I said, look, what is the peloton like? You've been out of it for a few years. What's been the difference between when you left it to now? And she was like, the level's just risen, the speed's risen. This week it's gone up again. Sometimes the pace today was off, but when it was on, it's really on.
Yeah, in Kasia Niewiadoma-Finney's press conference for her 3rd place overall tonight, she was asked about that, and she said that if you were pushing the same power numbers that you did last year, you wouldn't have finished inside the top 10 this year.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, and I don't know how much of that's just exaggeration or just a kind of a summary of how she thinks it's going, but I think it's representative of the sentiment that we've heard all week, isn't it?
Yeah, and I caught up with Evita Music after the stage as well, and I got to chat with her, and I asked her that question as well, and she said Pauline today has just risen the bar again.
Let's hear from that chat actually from you and Evita Music at the finish line.
Evita, phenomenal ride today. You guys satisfied with how today went?
Yeah, not for myself. I was really shit, so I cannot do so much. But I think they really did a great job in the front, especially Juliette and Demi. And it's nice that they fight until the end to gain one place for the GC.
Yep. And a lot of teamwork this week. You guys can be happy with that.
Yeah, I think we really did what we can. Pauline was just stronger than
Another
us.
level, huh?
Yeah, really. I have the feeling, that's good, but the women's cycling are really going at a really high level, and now it's like some girl, there is more girl at the high level. And
We have talked about that. So how much harder can women's cycling realistically push to be sustainable?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. No, yeah, but especially this year, I have the feeling it's really going really high. But it's also good that it's like this. I think still need to work, and we will work hard this winter to come back next year.
Oh, well done.
All right, so on the subject of FDJ-Suez, you talked about Vallieres, how much she was attacking. There's a funny moment towards the start of the stage where she was attacking at the top of the first Cat 1 to protect Elise Chaby's QOM points, which was which was quite entertaining, I thought, given that earlier in the week we had Chaby riding to protect Vallieres, and the whole thing was...
And I got in trouble.
It was just a funny moment that Vallieres was then riding to protect Chaby's QOM jersey when it had been the other way around earlier in the week, as it should be when you're riding for your GC leader. But Juliette Labousse as well, as you mentioned, she got dropped so many times today and fought back many times, and then was on the front for so long, helping to bury Gigante when she was off the back, and then ultimately set Vallieres up for that late attack. So their teamwork has been great all week. They've been really strong. They've been the strongest climbing team, and they showed that again today, I thought.
Yeah, I think we've got we can look forward to some really big things from this team. I think what's great about this Tour de France is that we have seen the professionalism of the women's peloton step up, but also we've seen the potential of no longer having a monopoly of victories in the women's peloton. Like it's very difficult to pick a winner now because you have so many teams with dialed team tactics. It's very difficult, and it's in fact I was talking to Martin Vespi, my old boss, who is now the boss of the guys at Uno X Mobility, and he said it's becoming more and more like men's cycling in the sense that it is becoming more professional in the way that the teams operate in a bike race.
Yeah, and that was echoed by Niamh Fisher-Black as well in her press conference. She was saying that it's not just that the power numbers are increasing, the strength is increasing, but there's also just more racing as a team, that there are riders that are, the team roles are more clearly defined now, and the stronger riders, the domestiques, are able to be there for longer than they were before. And I think that's been borne out throughout the week. We've seen satellite riders up the road more in this race.
I'm loving the satellite riders.
That's something that we just didn't see a couple of years ago, really.
No, it's not. And I actually saw that my satellite rider of the tour, Justine Kikira, at the end of this race, and I'm currently in the process, which I'll get to after this pod, finishing a piece on the vibe at the finish line, and I got to capture a great image of Justine is just exhausted after a week of solid work, and she earned a paycheck and then some this week.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about her GC leader, Sarah Gigante, then. I wrote a piece about her ride today on Escape Collective, which you can check out, but it was pretty hard to watch, I think, as fans of her, but also fans of the sport. She battled so well, and we knew there was always a chance she would get dropped on the descents today, and that was ultimately what happened on the Jouplan. She lost contact, and then just had 6 riders up the road who were all very motivated to put time into her, working together to put time into her. And she ended up finishing the stage, I think, nearly 4 minutes behind Fran Prévost, and that saw her slip from 2nd to 6th overall. And I definitely feel for her. As I wrote in my story, there were thousands of fans on the roadside today, but she was very much alone out there.
She was, and in fact, she was asked, where was your team car? She didn't even have a team car with her for a lot of the day stage, because the gap just wasn't that. She was doing such a good job at trying her very best and darndest to get close to the people in front of her that she actually didn't get a team car near her. She was alone out there today.
And you saw her at the finish line. How was she?
That was a hard watch. We were 75 meters behind the press zone. So, Pauline came in, Demi came in, Kasia came in, Neef came in, and they all stopped in front of us. But the AG Insurance Sudal team, Swannies, were set up behind the press area, and Sarah came in and she was wheeled past us, and I sprinted with the SBS crew and other international media to follow her, because she was the first rider that us plebs in the press gallery could actually get access to. But she is the story in the sense of what she did yesterday to today, which is still a phenomenal ride. And I press record on my voice memo, and it was silence for 5 minutes. First thing she did, well, A, stop her Garmin, and B, ask where she came on GC.
Yeah.
And her Swanee was desperately trying to refresh the page. Dave McKenzie from SBS ended up answering that question for her and said, look, you got 6th. And what followed was, 5 minutes of silence where she just stood over her bike, got a jacket on, and just had a towel around her neck. And it was either she was biting or she was kind of mouthing some words into the towel, and then looking up at her press officer, looking back down. It was quite, it was like a child looking up at their parent, wondering what to do.
Yeah, she was just empty, wasn't she? She just completely emptied herself today, trying to chase back. She just described it as time trial mode, just focusing on just limiting her losses as much as possible. And look, it was the descent that created that gap, but it was then the work of the riders up in front that blew that
pushing
open.
it. They were pushing it very hard. And look, she was fighting an uphill battle, ironically, because it was on the descent that she lost the wheel. But as you say, like they really made sure she wasn't going to get back on, and Juliette Labousse was a big part in that. That she rode her heart out. But Sarah's reaction at the finish line, like, it brought tears to a lot of the journalists around me. I'm not a crier, but I definitely felt it within myself. Sarah was crying as well, and I think it's just you see how much these riders care, and I think for Sarah, knowing who she is, she just wanted to repay the work of her teammates from this week. Yeah,
and I think she did that. And I think that she'll look back on it and be very proud of what she's achieved this week, and I hope that she can do that and can bounce back and use this as motivation to work even more on that descending and improve as she goes on.
Absolutely.
One of the riders who was up the road who helped put a gap into Gigante was Niamh Fisher-Black, who we've talked about. After a tricky start to the Tour for Lidl-Trek, she had a great end to the Tour. 3rd yesterday on the Madeleine, and then 4th today to move her up to 5th overall, which is a terrific result and one she should be really happy with. And in fact, you caught up with both her and Rhiannon Marcus at the finish, I believe.
I sure did. Neef was really happy with her ride, as she should be. It's phenomenal to see her. And look, I took a great snap. The snap is not making the article, unfortunately. I did get a video of Neef crossing the line with getting her touch hairy juice, but she was smiling in this snap. She was very happy with herself, as she should be. She had a great ride yesterday and a great ride today. Rihanna, by contrast, didn't have the week that she wanted, and so there was a bit of a contrast in our discussion. Yeah, and you can hear that play out in the audio that we're about to play now of you chatting to Niamh Fisher-Black and Rhiannon Marcus.
Niamh Fisher-Black, Rhiannon Marcus. What a weekend. You guys were unbelievable. How do you feel after this 9-day Tour de France?
Do you want to know?
Yeah, I want to know.
You can't bleep it out, fuck.
No, we want all the profanity.
No, good. I think, maybe we didn't start the week so well as a team, but it's nice actually these last few days to turn around and try and find something with the girls. It was really good.
It was really nice to see both of you in the breakaway yesterday. You both, you attacked the weekend full gas. Today was also another tenacious ride with Neef finishing it off. What are we looking forward to next year? You coming back for more next July?
Yeah, I definitely hope we are coming back for more. But first of all, I think we should be happy about what we achieved this week. And let's see what next year will bring us.
And we've had a lot of people leave this Tour de France. Do you guys have any idea why?
I think there was a lot of sickness going around. Of course, the crashes. We also lost our sprinter, Barcy, because of a crash. So I think it was just a super hard tour, and the level never has been as high as now. So it's just super hard.
Well, drinks tonight?
I don't know.
We see.
We've actually got a rider diary as well from Niamh Fisher-Black tonight. So why don't we throw to that now? We can have a listen to how Niamh was going after she's had a little while to cool down and, I guess, decompress after a big day.
Hey, just a quick one from Neef from post Tour de France Femmes. I'm just on the bus now. We're traveling to our next hotel and hopefully pizza awaits us still. It's 10 p.m. though, so tired and hungry. It's been a long 9 days and these last 2 days have been full on. But yeah, I don't think I need to say much about the day. I hope you're watching, because I think women's cycling's really cool at this moment. And I'm proud on our week. Looking back, I didn't expect 2 days ago to ride into the top 5 of GC. I had some bad luck with a puncher and spent some time on a neutral service bike down a descent, which was an experience in itself, but I lost a few minutes that day. And but it's also in a way a bit of a blessing. It gave me some freedom the last few days, and I really enjoyed racing like that, racing with my heart. And I had some fun with Rihanna yesterday, and today I had also listened on the horse category climb. She had really good legs. And it was also another good day for me. It's been really cool to race amongst these women. They're so strong, and I really wanted something today, and I really tried to follow Pauline when she attacked, but she had an extra gear, to be honest, and that's fair enough. I don't know what more to say. I think it's funny how these weeks can go. I think a few days ago I would have told you maybe I wasn't enjoying it so much. It felt like blow after blow, but now it's been a really nice end. So now time to eat some pizza, I think, and season's not over, but there is time enough for a little rest. And I hope you enjoyed the week.
That was Niamh Fisher-Black with her reflections on today's stage. Another rider who really impressed today was Dominika Lodacek, who we've talked a lot about in the last few days, about how she emerged as UAE Team Emirates GC contender and was well placed before today's stage. And she was one of the riders up front and one of the beneficiaries of Gigante's descent on the leaderboard there. And she moved up to 4th overall after today's ride. So like Labouche, she was a rider who was distanced, I don't know how many times today. It would have been half a dozen at least off the back, seeming like she was done, catches back up, dropped again, catches back up, and then still manages to be there at the end, and ended up finishing 5th on the stage on the same time as Fisher-Black, just behind Nieuwedoma and Vallieres. So fantastic ride from her, and great signs for her future too.
You know what? She's become like that team, that UAE team is probably my team at the tour. They're just what they've done today. Because again, I'm going to say I'm the lucky charm. Because again, I rolled up to their bus today and I found the mechanic who I chat with. Every stage they do something really impressive. And I said to him, "Well, you win today?" And he's like, "Oh no." Then we actually got into a chat around Dominika and her potential. And he says after the first stage that Squibban won, the second stage at Squibban won, and Dominika moved up to 11th on GC. I was there when he told her anything is possible. You just got to keep believing, and believe she did. I mean, they had started today with 3 because Brody unfortunately caught the virus that's been going around, and all Dominika had to do was follow today. And I talked about that with the mechanic, and he said, like, look, she's the next generation of Polish cyclists. So you look at Kasia, like Kasia is Kasia, but then the next one through will be Dominika, and this is a really exciting prospect for Poland as well. Yeah,
that's a great point. So a great ride from her, particularly given how terribly the week started for UAE. I think losing Elisa Longo-Borghini so early, and then 2 more riders after that, and then Brody Chapman today. It could easily have been a very forgettable tour, but 2 stage wins, 4th on GC. Mavis Guiban with those 2 stage wins, but also 3 most combative prizes and the super combative prize for the entire tour. So yeah, just a fantastic race for them, with only a handful of riders by the end of the thing. You talked briefly about Cedrine Kerbol, and she brought us into today's episode with that introduction. She had a bit of a tough one out there today. She crashed early on with her teammate Mags Vallieres on a left-hander. A bit of a weird crash where those 2 plus Kasia actually crashed at the same point, but not actually related to each other, seemingly just at the same point. And it ended up with Kerbol being off the back and having to chase for most of the stage, and she wasn't able to get back up to that lead group and finished actually 9 minutes down to drop 3 places on GC to 8th overall by the end. So frustrating for her. And we do actually have an audio diary tonight from the other EF Education-Oatly rider who crashed there, Mags Vallieres, reflecting on her race, which I'm sure would have been frustrating for that crash as well. But let's have a listen to what Mags had to say tonight.
Hi, this is Magdalene Vallière from EF Education-Oatly. Now the Tour de France is finished. Today was the stage 9 for the team. It started off good with a split after the first descent, which we were all in. And then the girls did a really good job at pushing the pace to make sure it stayed away. Came back just before the first climb, and then many attacks went on. And I followed a lot of them, but then you can start to feel the 8 stages already in the legs. Died a little bit. But then my groom made it back on the front, which we had Cedrine in. And then we positioned her into the R category climb. But sadly, some bad luck and crashed at the bottom. Cedrine crashed at the bottom with Noemi, and then I waited and brought her back as far as I could until the second group, but could not make it until the first group. And then for me, my day was a bit done because I could not help her anymore. So she was by herself, trying to fight to come back into the lead group. Never made it back, just some bad luck today, but the legs are there, and I think in these 9 days we learned a lot, and we know more how to work with each other, and we can see that there's potential for big things. So looking forward to racing with the girls again, and now though some rest, and next year we come back and we fight for even better.
That was Mags Vallieres from EF Education-Oatly with her reflections on stage 9. Georgie, let's go back to the finish now quickly. I want to talk about your chat with Marion Brunel, because she is the young teammate of the overall winner, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, and she's a rider that's really grown you this week, isn't she?
God, our week started a bit rough, if I'm going to be honest, the two of us. Stage 1, my first time in the scrum, as Lauren calls it, and Marion blanks me for an interview. And I go, shit, what did I do wrong?
But now look at you two.
But now look at her too. She looks at me and she's like, hi, you want an interview? I'm like, yes, please. She's super happy. And for a rider who had started the week so poorly, in her own words, to then come out and have the ride that she did yesterday and assist with Pauline's win, and then have the ride that she did today is just phenomenal. Like the whole Visma team they were there at the podium today the whole time watching Pauline get her rewards and accolades. And I also caught sight of Mariana, who was smiling, happy, jubilant. Like they had a great tour. And as in the words of Brunel, which we'll hear from in a sec, I'm pretty sure they're going to have a good night tonight.
Let's hear from her now. This is Marion Burnell talking to Georgie at the finish.
English now.
Yep. But how happy are you?
Super happy. I cannot explain. I am just. Yeah.
Could you imagine this at the start of the week?
No, I dream it, but I didn't imagine it. So.
Well, I think some champagne tonight, no?
Yeah, we have seen some nice bottles yesterday, but it wasn't the good moment to drink them for the moment. So now I think we can, and we will enjoy it a lot.
That was Marion Burnell chatting to Georgie at the finish line today. Pauline Ferrand-Prévot ends up winning the Tour by almost 4 minutes. We were talking from before the race about how sharp she was looking, and the rumours were that she was absolutely flying. I think we can conclusively say that that is the case. She was easily the strongest rider in the race this year, and quite a definitive performance today.
It was quite scary. I mean, you talk to everyone and they're just like, I mean, we heard from Avita. I've spoken to many people in the paddock. Pauline has risen the bar of what performance looks like. I think Demi thought she had this tour in the palm of her hand. I think many people did. But Pauline seems to be in another class to Demi, Rosa, Longo. And that is quite a scary concept that I do not have the brain cells at the moment to dig into. But no, dear readers, I will be digging into this shortly.
Yeah. I mean, you look at her palmares and what she's managed to achieve across disciplines over the last decade or so, and it's pretty remarkable. I think we've mentioned previously that she's a rider that when she sets her mind to something, she normally does a very good job of achieving that goal. And she's done that in the mountain biking. She's done that on the road years ago. She's come back to the road. She gave herself 3 years to try and be a factor in the Tour de France. She's won it straight away. She prepared for it seemingly like nobody else, which we'll talk about in off mic tonight. Just a very impressive performance from her. And, you know, there were question marks. We, as you said in the previous episode, Georgie, we hadn't seen her race for 80 odd days. And, you know, from the start of the year, this was her big goal. And we didn't know whether she was going to be a factor. She wasn't in the early season races. She was off the pace. And then she wins Roubaix. And then the question was she going to be up with the best at the Tour de France Femmes? And she wasn't just with the best, she was better than the best.
Yeah, she certainly was. And I spoke, again, speaking with the DS today, I asked him if the solution is that all your key riders then take that amount of time for prep for races like this. And he goes, look, not 81 days, but perhaps 6 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be fascinating to watch next year, how the big riders approach that. I think there will definitely be some teams and riders that look at Ferrand-Prévot's preparation and consider it. So something to think about and to keep an eye on for sure. You made a great point in the car today. Ineos will be kicking themselves they didn't start a women's team.
Wow, isn't that great concept? I love thinking about how much they're like, shit. It's really, I just, you know, the old feminist in me just loves this concept.
Yeah, I mean, there is a definitely an element of schadenfreude about this whole thing where she was with the team on the mountain bikes and
the women's team was promised.
Yeah.
Multiple years.
Yeah, and just never eventuated. So she signs with Visma and look, here we are.
Yeah.
She's won the Tour de France.
In year one.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
All right, let's throw to another rider diary here before we continue. Let's go to Ally Wollaston from FDJ-Suez.
Hello, you can probably hear from the chaos outside. The tour is finished. We're in celebration mode at the moment. We had a really, really good day today. Demi's moved up in GC to second and the team were unbelievable today. I think we took every opportunity we could. And yeah, I finally got to soak up the environment today. I think it was the first day I actually enjoyed being on the bike and in the crowds. I could finally enjoy it. Otherwise, every other day I was suffering so much. But yeah, I'm so happy to get through this week and so proud of our team. for getting through the way we did. So yeah, c'est la vie. And yeah, vive le Tour.
That was Ally Wollaston from FDJ-Suez checking in after her final stage of this year's tour. I want to quickly go through the other jersey winners, as is only fitting on the final stage of the race. Lorena Wiebes, as we expected, went out the winner of the green jersey competition. I don't think it was particularly close in the end. 230 points to Wiebes, Marianne Vos in second on 178. And realistically, that competition was wrapped up a few days ago. The best young rider jersey, Ninka Vinka from Picnic Post-NL, ended up wrapping up that competition after moving into the lead yesterday. And then QOM, Elise Chabet.
Surprise, surprise.
Had it from the first day of the race.
Totally in the plan.
And defended it well. She wasn't up the road today. I think she was exhausted, to be perfectly honest. But she'd done what she needed to do over the previous days, and that was it.
I got a lovely photo of her and Stefan Dolcourt at the finish line. So she was very happy, and he was very happy with her.
I think that's just about it for this year's podcast from the Tour de France Femmes. Before we go, I want to say a big thank you to everybody that's listened throughout the last 9 days or 10 days, including the preview. It's been a privilege to be here, to follow the race and to talk through the stages every day. And we can't do that without the support of our wonderful members. So big thank you especially to those that are members of Escape Collective. We really do appreciate your support. It means that we can keep coming and reporting on races like this. And a big thank you to you, Georgie. It's been a pleasure chatting with you every day, both in the podcast and in the car and at finishes. And it's been a big week, but it's been a lot of fun.
Look, Matt, we still have 12 hours together, so don't count your chickens. You can still
fall apart still.
Something could still happen. But no, I've it's been an absolute joy and privilege, and I'm super grateful for this opportunity. It's to learn from you, and I feel like I somewhat have my feet under the desk when it comes to covering a race.
Yeah, you've done an amazing job. I think all the listeners will agree. And if you haven't read Georgie's content on escapecollective.com, you should absolutely do that as well. She's been writing great stories all week long, so make sure you do that. Big thank you again to everybody for listening. I'm sure the Wheel Talk crew will be back in the next week or so with a full breakdown of the tour, the highs and lows, and everything we're going to take from it. But until then, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. And we'll speak to you again soon.